home births were very exciting, more exciting than going into hospital. My first birth in hospital was successful, the second birth wasn't, but the 2 home births were such a joyous experience because I had my husband on tap, I had my baby in my own bed. The children were able to come back and see the baby in its own environment. It was safe, and I knew that the midwives were so good to me that if anything had gone wrong at all, I would have been whisked off straight away to hospital.
So that mother gave birth at home, and if you're planning to do the same, you'll first need to discuss it with your midwife. So Jill, what would you want to raise with a mother who wants to give birth at home?
Well, first and foremost, we would want to determine that this mother is fit and well and healthy, has enjoyed a healthy pregnancy and has a healthy baby. That's the most important thing to begin with. At around 36 weeks of pregnancy, we'd probably quite like to see her at home, and ideally with her, the father of the baby or her birth partner with her at the same time. We're not going to her home to inspect the premises. We're not the tidy police. That's not the purpose of the visit. We just need to cover some practicalities. The accessibility of the front door. Is it going to be easy for us to park? Is it going to be easy for us to find the house? Those kinds of issues. So there really isn't any point in us trying to plan too prescriptively about exactly where she's going to give birth in the home, because she's going to be behaving naturally and instinctively and won't know at this point exactly how she's going to feel and where she wants to be. But it would be helpful for us if we could cover just 1 or 2 practical issues. For instance, is there a decent phone signal in the house? Is there a good landline? And it's also helpful for us to have a flat surface, somewhere like a low coffee table, something like that, and a good light source. So should we need to give a baby a really, really good check over, there was somewhere that we could use easily for that. In terms of the practicality of our own home and sort of furnishings and carpets and things like that, it might be wise to have perhaps some plastic sheeting or even some cheap shower curtains, something like that, over special carpets, etc. But it's probably also quite nice to cover those over with old sheets as well. It's not very nice walking around on plastic. If she's planning a water birth, then obviously she will have considered that beforehand and possibly will have a pool set up ready for a couple of weeks before, and she may and her birth partner will want to consider the practicalities of filling and emptying the pool as well, and making sure that the pool is placed somewhere in the house where it's obviously safe and toddlers are safe from a pool too. We would want to have a discussion with her as to the sort of main reasons as to why we might need to move or transfer a mother from a home birth situation into a hospital if there was any cause for concern. So we would have that conversation. If there's any deviation from normality in the mother's condition or the baby's condition or the labour itself, we would like to transfer her into a hospital. And it would be worth her considering in advance, if she has any choice, which particular hospital she'd like to go to. We also need to remind her that if she does need to be transferred during her labour, she will actually need to go in an ambulance that we have called. She wouldn't be able to transfer simply in her own car.
The snowballing of low risk to high risk can happen in a very quick moment of time. And that's why there are a lot of papers to actually tell you that the condition of your baby and yourself when you are pregnant and labouring would depend on how close or far away you are from medical facilities. So if you're labouring in a farm which is 20 miles away from the nearest medical facility, if everything goes well, that's fine. But if you need help at a drop of a hat, then I think that becomes very critical, how quickly you're transported to a centre where they can provide you with all the help you need.
Although the majority of women who plan to labour and give birth at home will do so, there is a small number of women who will, for whatever reason, need to go in. So we also would suggest that she has a bag packed and ready just in case she does need to be transferred. It's important that the house is lovely and warm and free from drafts, and I'd also suggest that she has ready some towels and the baby's clothes, and that they're somewhere warming ready for when the baby's born. Mothers may also want to consider making some arrangements for other children or pets. So if she has other small children, she may want to plan in advance exactly who'll be able to come and collect them and take them away somewhere else or care for them elsewhere in the house, whatever is appropriate for them.
The clean-up process is very quick. Everyone imagines a huge mess, big problems. Nothing, not at all. I didn't know anything about what was going on around me. I just had the baby and was sorted out. I wish it was more readily known or widely known that it was such a good experience. I think people are really reticent to book in a home birth because they're worried that they're not going to have a good home birth experience. It was just special, more special than being somewhere which isn't your own environment. I would highly recommend it to anybody.
When you give birth in hospital, most of the necessities will already be in place. When you have a home birth, it's up to you to prepare for it. So do have a good chat with your midwife if you're planning to give birth at home.